Trump didn't just threaten Canada once, or even twice. He went on a full-blown streak of weekly warnings that shook things up. Every week, a new weapon, tariffs on everything, talk of seizing aircraft, blocking bridges, ending trade talks, even calling the Prime Minister governor. He even sent officials to hang around with Alberta separatists every single week. It was wild. Each threat came with fresh pressure, a new jab meant to break Canada's resolve. But Mark Carney? He wasn't having it. The man had an answer ready every single time. Sometimes it was just a few sharp sentences over the phone, and other times it was a major trade deal with China signed before Trump even finished tweeting about it. Talk about playing chess while everyone else was arguing over checkers. What unfolded wasn't just stubbornness, it was a straight-up masterclass in strategy. Carney figured out something Washington didn't see coming. Not every threat showed what the US actually wanted, and with each demand, Canada gained leverage it didn't even know it had. So today, we're breaking down Trump's relentless pressure campaign, every single threat, what it was really meant to do, and how Carney flipped each one into proof that Canada needed to stop leaning so hard on the United States. Before we jump into the chaos of this story, make sure you show some love. Hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss the real breakdowns that actually matter. Now let's get into it. Why did Trump keep going after Canada like that? Before you can even make sense of the threats, you've got to understand what Canada really is. This isn't just some snowy neighbor up north. Canada is a global heavyweight. It's the second largest country on Earth, packed with power and resources. We're talking about the biggest per capita reserves of fresh water, the third largest proven oil reserves, and massive deposits of lithium, nickel, cobalt, uranium, and rare earth elements. And guess what? Those are the exact materials the US needs to keep up with China in EVs, AI, semiconductors, and military tech. But that's not all. Canada also controls the Northwest Passage, a frozen Arctic sea route that's melting open because of climate change. For the first time in history, it's becoming navigable, and experts are calling it one of the most strategic shipping routes of the entire 21st century. That's huge. Even Prime Minister Justin Trudeau put it bluntly. Trump's talk about absorbing Canada wasn't just bluster. According to Trudeau, it was all about one thing: access to Canada's critical minerals. And the easiest way to get them? Straight up absorption. When a country has what you want, you've only got three choices: buy it, trade for it, or take it. Since Trump couldn't just take Canada's resources, he went with the next best weapon: economic pressure. The math behind it is simple, but brutal. The US pulls in over $83 billion worth of Canadian critical minerals every single year. Meanwhile, China's sitting on about 60% of the world's production of those same materials, and they've already shown they're willing to play hardball by cutting off exports when it suits them. That means the US military, the electric vehicle industry, and the semiconductor supply chain are all running on materials that Beijing could shut off at any second. That's a serious vulnerability. So where does that leave America? Looking north, Canada is close, stable, and politically easy to deal with, at least compared to everyone else. But here's the twist. Washington didn't just want to trade with Canada, it wanted control, access to all that wealth without paying Canadian prices. That was the real play behind every tariff, every threat, and every so-called deal. And then there's the Arctic, the next frontier. Canada owns 1/3 of the Arctic coastline and about 1/4 of the Arctic's territory. The legendary Northwest Passage runs right through Canadian waters, waters Canada claims as internal. But the US? It's never recognized that claim. As the ice melts and that route opens up for global shipping, whoever controls it will dominate the fastest sea path between the Atlantic and the Pacific. That's not just trade, that's power. That debate over who really controls the Arctic isn't new. It's been simmering for decades. But Trump? He cranked the heat all the way up. He pushed harder than any US president before him. Even Steve Bannon once described Canada's Arctic as its soft underbelly, hinting at how vulnerable it looked from Washington's perspective. Under Trump, that thinking got written into policy. His administration's national security strategy added what they called the Trump corollary to the old Monroe Doctrine. In that mindset, Canada isn't seen as a fully independent ally. It's treated more like a territory sitting inside America's sphere of influence that just hasn't been fully brought into alignment yet. That's wild, and that's the backdrop behind every tariff, every insult, and every sarcastic joke about Canada being the 51st state. This isn't really about milk quotas, plane certifications, or digital laws. Those are just excuses dressed up as trade talk. The real fight runs way deeper. It's about whether Canada gets to control its own resources, waterways, and economic ties, or whether Washington gets to call the shots by default. Mark Carney spotted that pattern early, way before most of Canada's political class caught on. His entire strategy came from understanding that this was never just about trade. It was about sovereignty. Since taking office, the message has been crystal clear. Canada will decide what Canada does with what Canada owns. That's the core principle holding everything together. And that's exactly why every single threat from Washington keeps backfiring. The more the US pushes, the clearer its real intentions become. And once those intentions are out in the open, Canada just doubles down. Trump's opening shot in his campaign against Canada came wrapped in a shocking excuse: fentanyl. He claimed Canada had become a pipeline for the deadly drug pouring into the United States and wasn't doing enough to stop it. Using that narrative, he declared a national emergency, invoked emergency powers, and slapped a 25% tariff on all Canadian goods. It sounded dramatic, but the data told a totally different story. In reality, nearly all fentanyl entering the US comes through the southern border. Canadian seizures were less than a fraction of 1%. Even the DEA's own data confirmed it. So when the White House tried to paint Canada as the villain, it didn't add up. It looked less like a genuine health move, and more like the opening move in an economic pressure game. The emergency declaration turned out to be Trump's golden ticket, the legal loophole he needed to hit Canada with tariffs without Congress. But Canada wasn't about to take that lying down. Ottawa struck back hard, launching retaliatory tariffs worth billions. Provinces didn't hold back either. Ontario added extra surcharges, and there were even threats to cut electricity exports to states like Michigan, Minnesota, and New York. From day one, Ottawa kept its tone steady and firm. But that fentanyl excuse came with a hidden price tag for Washington. The administration had to keep repeating the same story, even as facts stopped lining up. And just when it couldn't get more outrageous, Trump took it a step further. He started calling Canada the 51st state. He said it on Truth Social at Davos, even right to the Prime Minister's face. No other president had ever gone that far. It was pure political theater, and the world was watching. Trump's goal wasn't actual annexation, it was humiliation. His 51st state talk was meant to send a message that Canada's independence depended on American approval. But the plan blew up in his face. Instead of folding, Canadians came together like never before. National pride roared back. Across the country, people started boycotting American products. Surveys showed 71% of Canadians were less likely to buy anything made in the US. The whole nation got a new phrase: elbows up, meaning Canada was done being pushed around. Mark Carney saw the moment and ran with it. He flipped Trump's insult into his main campaign message. Carney crushed the April election, becoming one of the most popular Canadian leaders in years. The ultimate irony, Trump ended up calling him a very nice gentleman. After the election, the talk about annexing Canada stopped dominating headlines, but the threats turned more technical. One of the strangest came when Trump took aim at Canada's aircraft industry. He threatened to decertify every plane made in Canada, calling out Bombardier's Global Express jets, and slapped on a warning of 50% tariffs. But nearly 1,000 Canadian-built planes were already flying for American carriers. It would have grounded planes in US airspace, and Trump didn't even have the power to do it. The FAA does. The threat was walked back within 24 hours. Canada's strategy was simple: wait. And like clockwork, each threat fizzled out. Then came Carney's master move, his trip to Davos. He delivered a speech that flipped the narrative, declaring that powerful nations were turning economic integration into a weapon. He said, "If you're not at the table, you're on the menu." European leaders gave him a standing ovation. Trump fired back, warning of 100% tariffs if Canada made a deal with China. But Carney had already signed it. Under the New Deal, tariffs dropped to 6.1%, opening up $7 billion in new markets. It was a masterclass in timing. But the most shocking twist was leaked reports that Trump officials met with Alberta separatists. That was direct interference. It meant Washington wasn't just pressuring Canada's economy, it was meddling in internal politics. Alberta's frustrations were real, but US involvement made the movement look like a foreign operation. Carney's answer? Govern and unify. Federal and provincial leaders appeared side by side. Buy Canadian went national. Then Ontario bought ad time on US TV using Ronald Reagan's voice against tariffs. Trump was furious, blasting the ad as a fraud. He threatened to end trade talks and increase tariffs. Ontario pulled the ad to protect jobs and Trump dropped the tariff. But Canadians were furious. Over 70% boycotted U.S. products. Then came Trump's bluff blocking the Gordie Howe Bridge, falsely claiming Canada owned both sides. But Canada paid $6.4 billion and U.S. workers built it. Every time Trump tried to squeeze Canada, he hurt his own side. His threats built what Carney wanted all along: a stronger, faster, more independent Canada, trading with China, Europe, India, and Brazil. Trump tried to control the terms. Carney proved Canada decides. Always. Subscribe. Canada Today, 13.